Happy Friday, guys. Today's workout is kind of broken up into two smaller workouts. First part, 0 to 10 minutes, you're going to be doing 45 thrusters and 45 bar facing burpees in any order or set that you like. So you can break it up, go rounds, or you can do it in order, go 45 thrusters, then do 45 bar facing burpees. Whatever style you like, just make sure you get the work done within the 10 minutes. After that, guys, at the 10-minute mark, we're gonna start the next workout. So if you finish in 5 minutes, let's say you have 5 minutes of rest before you start the next workout, which will start at 10 minutes. Then you have another 10 minutes to finish 45 power snatches, 45 lateral facing burpees. Same concept here, guys. Break it up how you like, whatever works best for you to be able to hammer through this workout. Some advice, I would say, to be able to get your best time out of this, I would say try to make it or split it up into rounds and have a descending rep scheme. So for example, for the 45, it breaks up nicely into 21, 15, 9. You guys can do it in that order. Or if you want to go into rounds as well, keep it short reps at once. Like you're doing sets of 5 at a time and you're doing 9 rounds of that. That's also a good way to do it. Again, it's really up to you. I would say the way, if you go straight through it, would really challenge more of your endurance of that specific movement in the workout. So again, up to you. Choose your own adventure. Have fun with this one. This is a great kind of open, CrossFit open style workout here. After the workout, guys, we have an afterburner. We're going to be working on our scaps and that overhead position. So we're going to do 10 and 10 scap rotations. Then we're going to go into 30 seconds of an overhead squat hold, really trying to emphasize that position where we're overhead, really trying to squeeze the scaps together and feeling that engagement in that position there. Hope you guys enjoyed today's workout, guys, and the afterburner. We'll see you guys next for the warm-up video. All right, so for today's warm-up, we're starting off with 3 rounds, 10 alternating arch raises. So we're gonna come down to the floor, staying in our Superman position here, also known as a Superman. Going for those arch raises, so we're going to lift the arm and the leg at the same time, but the opposite limb, so cross body there. We're gonna go for those 10 reps there. Really trying to squeeze our glute and our upper back as we do the alternating arch raises. Once we finish that, guys, we're gonna go into a dead bug. And if you like, you can use a weight here for the arm raises in the dead bug. So you'll go into that dead bug position, legs straight, try to have that tailbone on the floor. From there, you're just gonna be dropping that arms down, really trying to catch you in the core, in those lats as well. We're going to be going for 10 reps here. As you do this, guys, I like to think about kind of squeezing the dumbbell together to really engage my lats as I'm coming down and up from that arm raise. As you do that, don't forget about your core. Keep it tight, keep the legs nice and straight, tailbone on the floor. Once you finish that, we're going to go into 10 alternating reverse lunges. So if you want, use weight. I'm going to show you guys body weight version for today. For the alternating reverse lunge, starting about a squat stance, you're going to send that foot directly back, so don't bring it inwards or outwards. Bring it straight back into that lunge, chest up, knee, or shin is nice and vertical to the floor. I'm nice and tall. Then I'm going to use that front foot to drive myself up forward. So I'm going to lift myself up through there, trying not to use the back leg as much. We're trying to activate that hamstring, glute, and keep that chain, core chain nice and tight as we do that. Once you finish that, we're going to repeat that for 2 more rounds of the alternating arch raises, those Deadbug Arm Raises, and those alternating reverse lunges. Once we finish the 3 rounds, we're just going to do 1 set to prime that upper body. We're going to go for 20 wall squats. So this is my setup here, guys. I don't want to talk to the wall. So 10, this line right here is my wall. I want to start off maybe about a foot away depending on what your mobility is like. You're gonna get your hands overhead, so pretend there's a wall here. I'm gonna get my hands overhead, and I'm gonna come down to the bottom of that squat, and then back up again. So we're really trying to use this to prime ourselves for the overhead squat. If you feel comfortable, you can keep a good tight core. Notice and also avoiding that butt wink at the bottom. So if I'm coming down, my butt is kind of rounding down. If I can avoid that, then I can get a little bit closer to the wall, make it a little bit more challenging. So I can walk a little bit closer. Now I'm about half a foot away, still keeping my arms overhead, and then again going for that overhead squat, or that wall squat against the wall there. 20 reps there. Break it up, 4 sets of 5, or just do one break, just kind of play around with it. Good for mobility, great strengthening, opening up the hips and kind of mimicking that overhead squat position. Once you're done that, grab your PVC, broomstick, whatever object you have that will kind of mimic that bar. We're gonna go for 5 overhead squats. Biggest thing I like to say for the overhead squats, guys, is those scaps. When your shoulder blades, try to squeeze them together and slightly pinch them upwards. So we don't want to push them up where we're shrugging our shoulders, and we also don't want to just retract them. I want you to retract and slightly push upwards so we can stabilize that bar overhead in all its directions, okay? So to do that, guys, start with the PVC behind your back, get into your snatch with, or overhead squat position with. That means just bring it to your hips, bring your knee up. If your elbow bends, so let's say I'm here, my elbow's bent, I need to go wide enough that my elbows are straight, then that would be my ideal overhead squat position that you can work with for today. Once I'm there, PVC directly over top of the base of my neck. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together and slightly pinching upwards, not overly, just a little bit. Elbows are locked out. Both the bony points of my elbow are pointing backwards at about a 45-degree angle. Nice and tight, core is tight. And now I'm coming down to the bottom of my overhead squat, looking straight ahead, holding that for 10 seconds, then coming back up. Obviously that wasn't 10 seconds, but for your warm-up, I want you to hang out at the bottom 10 seconds, keep it light, feel that position out. If you need to go up a little higher in your squat, go for it. This is good to kind of feel out the position, just like we did with the wall squats prior to that. We're kind of putting it together with that overhead squat. And as you feel comfortable, add weight if you want throughout the 5 reps. Make it a little bit more challenging, or even build up to your workout weight. Okay, so that will be the warm-up for today. We'll see you guys next for the movement standards. Those bar facing burpees or that object facing burpee, make sure you do the burpee in front of that object. As you come up, you guys can step, or you guys can bring both feet in to make that transition a little bit faster. So with that step in, might be a little bit easier on the lungs, and it gives you a little bit more time to kind of recover there. Though, if you want to go a little bit faster, or you're in that end range, so you got that last minute to finish up those 15, let's say you got 5 more reps and you have only 15 seconds to go, that's kind of where you can quickly get some time. So bring your feet in, jump right over top of that object, and get ready for that next one. Try to use just one object for those thrusters. So we're going to hold that in the front rack position. We're going to come down, again, nice and controlled, just like that smooth deadlift. Coming down with control on the way up. Be explosive with the hips and drive that object straight overhead. Make sure, again, with that squat on the way down, we're staying tall with those elbows, making sure they don't drop at the bottom.
Starting with the alternating snatch. I got a dumbbell here, guys. So, depending what you have at home, your starting position might be slightly different, okay? So, what I'm getting at is if I have a smaller object, I might have to squat down to reach it versus leaning forward and rounding my back. That is usually your go-to, more natural, kind of lean forward, reach for it. But then that changes your spine position, does not keep it in neutral position. So try to get in the habit of hinging with the hips, okay, squatting down if your object is a little bit smaller, okay? To avoid using your back or compromising your back position, use those legs. Just like any lift here that we would use with a barbell, you would deadlift it from the floor. From there, you guys are gonna drive your hips, heels into the floor. As you drive your elbow slightly back, then quickly turn it around and punch it to the ceiling, okay? Avoid that two-step because it's not a clean and press, it's a snatch, okay? So one fluid, continuous movement all the way overhead, okay?
All right, guys, we're here for the afterburner, doing 3 rounds of 10 and 10 scap rotators, and then we're going into a 30-second overhead squat hold. So we've done overhead squat holds before. With this one, we're gonna add a little bit more activation and emphasis on that scap and its positioning. So with those scap rotators, I'm gonna use a plate, but you guys can use virtually any weight that you have at home that you feel comfortable holding on to, so not too too heavy. For the scap rotator here, I'm gonna start off by getting that inside point of my elbow tucked into my side. A good cue also would be to possibly put like a cloth or something in between, like a sponge in between there, to make sure that your elbow doesn't veer off to the side. It stays nice and close to your side there. From there, with your weight, guys, you're gonna pull that. You're gonna start with your weight in the middle, so about your belly button. Then I want you to rotate that weight out as much as you can. Go to the side. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of the shoulder there. Most of the key points here is we want to feel it on that shoulder blade. So that upper back here, not in the traps, but a little bit lower region there, and in that mid back as we're twisting that object out. Make sure when you guys do that twist, we're not letting that shoulder kind of roll forward. We want to keep that shoulder down and really isolate that scap muscle on its own when we're doing those rotations. 10 per side, guys. If you have bands, you can also do the same thing with a band. Good resistance there is another way of doing it. 10 and 10 per side. Once you're done, we're going to take that and apply it to our overhead squat. So grab PVC, grab something nice and light. Preferably you can use like a broomstick. Try and keep the object nice and straight. Once we're up here in this overhead position, so first make sure you're comfortable doing that pass through all the way through. A little bit sticky, but you can still keep those elbows locked out. From there, get that PVC or broomstick directly over top of your shoulder. So I'm in this overhead position here. I want to keep it directly over top of the shoulders, not in front, all the way back here, right in that middle portion, the base of my neck there. From there, I'm going to think about squeezing my shoulder blades together, kind of like when I was doing that rotation. So I'm going to squeeze them together, keep that tension, and then slowly overhead squat while maintaining that tension in my upper back. If you can only go to this position, stay there, hold it for 15 seconds for 2 sets there, then come back up to another set of that 15 seconds to get 30 seconds, or you can do all 30 seconds at once. If you find that it's difficult to do that overhead squat, you can also go for that overhead lunge and just come down to the bottom of the overhead lunge and hold that position. So we're keeping the legs active still here and still keeping the overhead position active. So in case you guys can't do that squat, you can also do an overhead lunge position. Most important thing is just make sure you're really trying to squeeze those shoulder blades in towards each other at the top to keep that bar secure overhead. Hope you guys enjoy the 3 rounds there. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the next one.